So, this happened to a guy I know. Let's call him James. He's not the kind of person who believes in ghosts, demons, or any of that stuff. He's a practical guy, super rational, works in IT, lives a quiet life. But after what happened to him, even he won't talk about it too much. Alright, ready to get scared? Turn off the lights, get cozy, and let the chill begin. It all started when he moved into a small house he found through a private rental. It was cheap, in a decent era, and had everything he needed. A quiet little backyard, 2 bedrooms, and enough space for his work setup. But here's the thing. James said from that very first night, the house didn't feel right. Nothing crazy, just off. He described it like the air felt heavier in certain rooms, especially in the hallway that connected his bedroom to the bathroom. He shrugged it off, figuring it was just an old house vibe. For the first week or so, everything was fine. He'd hear the occasional creep or pop in the house, but nothing unusual. Then, one night, James woke up at 3:14 a.m. on the dot. That's not even the weird part. He woke up because he heard something. He said it was a faint, rhythmic tapping coming from somewhere in the house. At first he thought it was the pipes. Old houses do have sometimes, right? But this wasn't random. And it wasn't coming from the walls. He said it sounded like fingers. Like someone drumming their fingers lightly on a wooden table. The weird thing? The sound wasn't steady. It would stop and start. Like someone was thinking. James got out of bed, still groggy, and went to investigate. He walked into the hallway, and the sound instantly stopped. Dead silent. He checked the living room. Nothing. The kitchen. Nothing. He even opened the back door to see if maybe a tree branch was hitting the house. Still nothing. Convinced he'd imagined it, James went back to bed. The next night, though, it happened again. Same time, same thing tapping. This time, it was louder. And it wasn't coming from the walls or pipes. It was coming from the hallway. James wasn't the type to scare easily, but something about the sound made his skin crawl. He got up again, phone flashlight in hand, and stepped into the hallway. The tapping stopped immediately. Just silence. He stood there, listening, waiting for it to start again. But what happened next made him freeze. He felt it, a faint breeze, cold, brush past him. The hallway was completely enclosed. There was no draft, no open windows, nothing that could have caused that. At this point, James was freaked out, but still trying to stay logical. He decided to ignore it, hoping it was just his imagination. He went back to bed, but he barely slept that night. Here's where it gets worse. A couple of nights later, James woke up to the sound of tapping again. But this time, it wasn't just faint or rhythmic. It was loud, like someone was knocking on his bedroom door. 3 sharp knocks. He bolted upright, heart pounding, staring at the door. It was closed, and the room was pitch black except for the faint glow of his computer monitor on the desk. He thought maybe someone had broken in. Quietly, he grabbed the baseball bat he kept under the bed and crept towards the door. He yanked it open. Nothing. The hallway was empty. The house was silent. But the air in the hallway? Ice cold. He could see his breath. James said he was done pretending this was normal. He stayed up all night with the lights on, researching the house's history. And that's when he discovered something that made his stomach drop. The house had been owned by a single woman for decades, and she died in it. She'd been living there alone, reclusive and paranoid. Her neighbors barely knew her. But there was one detail they all mentioned. She was obsessed with locks. She had locks installed on every door in the house. Bedroom doors, bathroom doors, and even the closets. James checked his own doors and realized they were weird. Old keyholes on them that had been painted over. He hadn't noticed them before. What really freaked him out, though, was the police report he found in an old news article. The woman had been found locked in her bedroom. The door had been bolted shut from the inside. The only way anyone knew something was wrong was because neighbors had heard a loud, frantic banging on the walls that wouldn't stop for hours. She died, trying to claw her way out of the room. James said after that, the tapping noises turned into banging. And not just at night, during the day too. It wasn't random. He said it would come from inside the walls when he was in the kitchen, or behind the bathroom door when he was in the shower. It got so bad he started sleeping with the lights on and barricading the doors just to feel safe. The last straw came a few weeks later. He came home from work one evening, and the entire house smelled like sulfur. He said it was so strong it made his eyes water. He checked the stove, the drains, even the backyard, but couldn't find the source. As he stood there trying to figure it out, he heard it again. The rhythmic tapping. But this time, it wasn't faint or far away. It was coming from right behind him. James didn't even turn around. He grabbed his keys, walked out of the house, and never went back. He moved out the next week, broke his lease, and left everything behind except what he could carry in his car. He says the scariest part isn't the noise or tapping. It's the fact that when he moved to his new apartment, he kept finding old-fashioned keyholes in the doors. Keyholes that weren't there when he signed the lease. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey to real-life horror. Remember, the scariest stories are often the ones that live next door. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, subscribe, and share your own scary experiences in the comments below. Until next time, keep your lights on and stay safe.